Hello. It is 20 past 3 in the morning and I am opening an energy drink. Cheers. I can only apologise to you. I'm sure you were expecting two faces here as usual. I would have liked that as well. Um, but Ellie can't be here this evening, unfortunately, and she sends her apologies, although I'll explain why she isn't here, and I'm sure that you will understand. Ellie suffers from fibromyalgia, which is a chronic condition that means she feels a lot more pain than the average person for a start, and she gets very run down and fatigued and can't do any much cardiovascular exercise without really feeling in a lot of pain the next day and things, and it doesn't help when the weather is hot as it has been. I don't feel like I'm doing a very good job of explaining what fibromyalgia is. Um, Obviously, Ellie uh, would do a better job, but as I've explained, she isn't here. She can't be here because she's having a bad time with her fibromyalgia, and she really, I mean, she has, it's something she deals with all the time, and she's really uncomplaining and deals with it very well. Um, but she's having a particularly tough day with it today, and I've done everything I can to kind of look after her, hopefully, and see that she's all right. But she wasn't feeling up to kind of coming and doing this today, which is absolutely fair enough, and I'm sure you get it. And I was feeling up to doing this today, although obviously doing it on my own is not my preference. It's much easier when I've got someone to bounce off, and she often does a lot of the work. Let's face it. So, um, and what has made it slightly harder is it is now, as I say, it's just on 20 past 3 in the morning. Um, I already recorded a full one of these and it ran to like nearly 25 minutes, and I recorded the whole thing, and I talked to you about all the things that I wanted to talk about in the news and in our lives today, and something went wrong and the whole thing got deleted. And Ellie has left me quite clear instructions as to what I'm supposed to do with this file so that it ends up on YouTube, um, and people can watch it. But she left me no instructions for if an error flashes up at the end of your recording saying something went wrong, and then when you go to look in camera roll, there's just yesterday's one, and not the one you've just recorded. And I was already had quite an epic phone call with my friend Steph, and I was kind of not really. I was already a bit tired, and I was planning to kind of get the vlog done. While I'm happy to do it, I wanted to get it done and kind of maybe watch something before I went to bed. I was not planning on starting another one um, at sort of nearly 3:30 in the morning, but here we are. I don't want to sound, uh, like I resent doing this. I enjoy doing these, but uh, I don't especially enjoy having to do them twice because of a technical fault that I do not know if it was a problem with the computer or if it was user error. I suspect user error. I suspect myself of fucking this up and making more work for myself. But that's okay. It just means that I mean this one is probably not going to be as long because I feel like I went on quite a few tangents, and I would just be it would be a contrivance to try and repeat all of those. So instead, I'm just going to talk about the things that I talked about previously, I guess, and run through them. And I imagine I'll do that in a much more streamlined way. It might actually be an improvement. You'll get a shorter, sort of streamlined version because, after all, if Ellie was here, she'd be doing her share of the talking, and I would never do. These normally run to about half an hour. I never do half an hour of the talking. Obviously, that would be mad. Incredibly domineering. In fact, I'm not sure. I usually do half of the talking, so if I was to do half an hour this evening, that would be more than any of you need or want. Um, and so, uh, it's taken. It has rocked me a bit. The whole vlog that I'd recorded just disappearing into the ether and being lost, and I was supposed to be watching a nice episode of the Mindy Project now before going to bed. I wasn't supposed to be drinking an energy drink. That was never the plan. But here we are. And what should I talk? See, I'm tired. See, it's not good because I'm tired and rattled, and I wasn't before. I was tired, admittedly, but I was broadly fine, and I was holding it together, and I was keeping this going. And now that's what you have to do, isn't it? If you're a vlogger, if you're a solo vlogger, unlike me, I normally have Ellie at my side, um, which is by far the best option. But um, and also, it's not just the vlogging. She also takes care of the spiders. And there is a spider in our living room, and it's not far from me. Actually, he's almost at my feet, and I've managed to trap him under a glass. But who knows what I do from here? You know, I, she is the spider gatherer and releaser of the house, and I'm only 35. I'm just a young boy. I can't be dealing with spiders without her moral support. It's a terrible state of affairs. So we'll see what happens with that. If I survive the encounter with a spider, maybe I'll live to tell the tale on tomorrow's vlog. So that's something for you all to look forward to. Anyway, what I do want to talk about is, although as I say, Ellie's not been feeling great today, we did manage to do a little bit of filming in the afternoon, and maybe if you're watching this, you will have seen some of the sketches and videos I've been making with Ellie. We're working on another one of those. If you haven't, if you're watching this on YouTube, I believe Ellie's put them into the playlist for this vlog, so you should be able to find them there. If not, just search for Chris Chopping Stand-Up Comedian on Facebook, and I've uploaded all of those onto my Facebook page that you can enjoy with me and Ellie messing about, having a bit of a laugh, and I think they're fun. I think they're worth your time, and I mean, some of them are longer than others. There's a makeup tutorial where I do Ellie's makeup for her, and that runs to about half an hour. So you know, skip ahead if that's not your thing. But I think it's more entertaining than some half hours of television I have seen. Put it that way. Anyway, so we're making another video, and we did a little bit of filming for that, and I'm really enjoying messing around and filming things with Ellie and learning how to use iMovie on my phone, and different little tricks and things I can do each time, and slightly figure it out and improve the videos that I'm making. That's been a lot of fun. We're also making another video together. There's a group on Facebook that we talked about before on the vlog called Let's Remake a Film, and what they did, they took the film Toy Story, and each scene from that film was allocated to a different comedian from around the UK, and they remade that film in whatever style they saw fit, often roping in housemates and partners and their kids, you know, whoever they live with, whoever's in the household, to be a part of the scenes. And then they sent their scene in. Some of the people did animation, some people did puppetry, some people did it as live action and acted and performed their scene from Toy Story. All those scenes were sent back in and compiled and edited into one long, I nearly said seamless, it was far from seamless, one long whole Toy Story remake, all remade by a cast of dozens, if not hundreds, and just so creative, so varied and interesting, and barely coherent, but like really entertaining for all that. And they put that up on Facebook where people could watch it, and then it was immediately taken down, and because of copyright reasons it was down within a couple of hours of it going up, which was a shame. But people involved, I mean, it was never supposed to go up for a long time anyway, because there was a lot of people as kind of kids in it and stuff, and so they were just going to screen it once, and then people who were in it were going to get a copy, and then they were going to take it down off the internet. But I certainly wanted to be involved with that because it looked like so much fun, and also if you're involved in it, as I say, you get a copy to keep, so that seems like a cool memento to have. So they've announced their next film they're doing is Groundhog Day, and I applied to take part in that, and I've been allocated a scene, and me and Ellie are going to make that together, and I'm really looking forward to that. Already we know what our scene is, and we've had some ideas for it, and we're really looking forward to filming that and getting that out. So although it's too late to take part yourselves, you can hopefully watch this one when it goes out. And I think it, like I say, the previous one was a lot of fun. I've no reason to think this one won't be equally creative and interesting and batshit crazy in places, and really worth a watch. Great lockdown entertainment, and also, as I say, lots of people had their kids joining in and making it. Um, they try and keep it kind of PG, so it's something you can watch with the family as a fun lockdown kind of activity slash treat slash, I don't know. You can't be homeschooling the whole time, can you? Just watch a remake of Groundhog Day. Why not? And I think it's gonna be fun. So, like I say, I keep saying the name of it. Let's remake a film. That's on Facebook. Check out the group, and then they'll announce on there when it's going to be going out. Um, and me and Ellie are a part of that as well. As if half an hour of me and her talking at you every day uh, wasn't enough, and clearly it isn't. What you've been crying out for is for us to cameo in a remake of Groundhog Day, and your wishes have been answered, guys. That's what we're doing. You're welcome. So, as if the world we're living in wasn't dystopian enough, I bought myself a new video game because I've been watching over the past. No, that feels like a real nonsense. I need to explain that, don't I? Well, it will become clear the video game is in a dystopian setting, but yeah, it is dystopian times we're living in, really, isn't it? Because we've got a sort of, the country is living in lockdown. We're not supposed to leave our homes, and we've got a sort of fascist government who are kind of doing whatever they want with no consequences. It's it is like something out of a. Try explaining lockdown to someone in the 90s. Try explaining to teenage me in the 90s, like, oh, by the way, one day, the whole country is going to be all kind of locked down. All the shops are going to shut, and you're all going to have to stay at home because there's going to be a potentially deadly virus. I mean, this is proper dystopian science fiction shit we're living through, isn't it? And it doesn't feel like that because we've got Netflix. And like, if you ever watch a dystopian film, none of them have Netflix, do they, or Nintendo Switches, or they're pretty hard up for entertainment. So, and it's all quite grim and horrible. And we're in there's a dog. I can literally, I'm within eyeshot of a dog over there, all big and yellow and sleepy on a comfortable sofa. We have access to comfortable sofas and all these. I've got a Marvel Ultimate Graphic Novel collection on my left here. You don't see them in dystopian films, do you, or TV series? It doesn't happen because it's too. But these are. It's an incredibly comfy dystopia. I'll give it that. I can't complain. But these are dystopian times. This is crazy shit we're living through. I might be rambling now, but I believe that to be the case anyway. One of the ways that a lot of people have been getting through these dystopian times is by playing a game called Animal Crossing. It's not a game I've ever played myself, but it seems like quite a gentle, relaxing kind of a game where you have an island and you decorate your hut and you grow fruit and you invite your friends to come and visit and things. And excuse me, now it seems like it might be kind of the perfect time to have got into it, as if I'd got that lockdown, if I'd got that game, but it was about 60 quid, and I'm on furlough and I don't have any gigs at the moment, so you work within your budget, don't you? But I have treated myself to a slightly cheaper game, as I alluded to earlier. I've bought myself the BioShock collection for Switch, which I'm quite excited to play because I've never I've wanted to play it for years and literally years, and it is not quite as charming and gentle a game as Animal Crossing. It is a game that is set. I love the aesthetic of it. That's what's always drawn me to it, and like the kind of the look of there's these guys, big brothers who have like drills for hands and big armor suits, and they just look pretty cool. But also, it's set in like an undersea. A city that is underwater, under the sea, and you can look outside the window sometimes and see fish kind of swimming about. But it's also Um, it's a city under the sea. It's kind of futuristic, but it's set in 1960, so it's kind of got it's in this ruined undersea city, so it's got a whole 1950s aesthetic, but also kind of science fiction because it's a Atlantis style city under the sea, so it's kind of retro futurist, like the Jetsons, but less cartoony, right? And it's very beautiful kind of art design and the architecture of this thing and this building, and it's all fallen to ruin, but it looks very grand, and there's nice sort of bits of 1950s style music playing everywhere, and it's just a very I realised that in real life in 1950s America, it was not the best place to be for a lot of people, especially if you weren't white. But and in many ways, that as we're seeing in the news, that remains the case. But the kind of the superficial aesthetic of 1950s America, the kind of post-war optimism, the kind of more and more gadgets for the home, and affordable housing and cars, and electric tin openers and refrigerators, and it just idyllic life, and I think it's often used as a kind of setting for then kind of cracks beneath the surface and darker stuff going on because it's the kind of white picket fence kind of thing. But I really like that aesthetic, and I like the undersea thing, so I was always drawn to this game, and I tried to play it. And I realised, by the way, that there might be those of you watching that this is like watching a teenager trying to explain the Beatles to you, and you're like, yeah, I know you've just discovered them, but I know who the Beatles are. I know more about the Beatles than you have the time to learn at this point, probably. But like I said, I've tried playing by it came out years ago. I tried to play it on Steam on a sort of janky laptop that wasn't really up to the task, and unable to do that. I have an Xbox 360, but I never got around to getting it on that either. And it's finally come out on Switch, which is my I love Nintendo consoles. It's my console of choice. I love my Switch, and I've got this collection on here now, so I'm excited to have it. Although, I even as much as I wanted it, now I've got it. I'm a bit like, this is not quite the game. Well, I guess I knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't. I mean, it's very dark and quite grim, and that is not the sort of game I play. A lot of The Legend of Zelda, or Super Mario Odyssey, things like that. And maybe a bit of Skyrim, where it's just got quite a lot of, sort of cutting and slashing and general killing. But even then, is not as grim as, like, there's people who have been driven mad, people injecting themselves with sort of chemicals, and little tiny little infant girl children who are running around that you need to harvest chemicals from them, or and you choose whether to kill them or rescue them. I've been rescuing them, by the way. I think that if you have the choice to rescue a child or harvest them for chemicals, I think you should rescue. That's just my personal view. Each their own. But I've been rescuing, but for all I know, that's going to turn out down the line to be a terrible decision, and I should have done the other thing. Maybe there's a twist in the tale that I don't know, but the story is quite compelling. But it's, like I say, I'm not above video games where we have to kill things. Lots of video games involve killing, but it's pretty visceral stuff, this, and you have to then search the corpses for supplies and stuff. And friends of mine will tell you I am reluctant to interfere with a corpse at the best of times. I take a lot of persuading. So this is pretty, and like I say, like, when I was jealous of Animal Crossing, like, and I thought, I want a video game that I can play, and I've been looking forward to getting this, but it is not a cheery distraction from world events. It is, it's a distraction in its own way. Cheery, it's, yes, bleak as fuck, but I'm not saying I'm not entertained by it though. So what does that say about me? Maybe I am disturbed. But I mean, if and I'm glad this game has arrived. I'm glad to have it. I'm grateful to be in a situation where I can get a game and I have the console to play it on. These are all fortunate things. But I think I would have it would have come to me like manna from heaven. I'd have been so grateful for it if it had arrived uh, sort of 8 weeks ago when we were just beginning to take care of a sickly cat, and I was either stuck on my own in a room with the sick cat, or Ellie was in with the sick cat, and I was here on my own without her company, and I was a bit bored and a bit of a loose end. I'd have loved to have that game then. Right now, I've actually got other stuff going on. Like I say, we're filming things, I'm reading these graphic novels, I'm working my way through, uh, I'm enjoying keeping up with the wrestling and things. So it's nice to have lots of things going on and feel like this is just one more cool, fun thing that I can find a bit of time for and slot in, rather than I think I would have worked my way at least through the first game quite quickly had it arrived. And I say that knowing that I'm playing on the easiest setting, so I've given myself the best possible chance of actually finishing the game, despite not really being a very good gamer. But I mean, I can't believe I've already done 21 minutes, which is insane. I thought, having had to restart, I would rattle through and we would just get things, and I'm now doing longer than I did last time, which is insane. I can only apologise. I'll try and speed things along, but we've got a couple of real world things I wanted to talk about on the vlog this evening. I wanted to talk about the new track and trace system, which is apparently in place, except that according to someone who's written an article for the Guardian today, it is a shambles, and basically they do not have the right training, it is not up and running properly. The people who've been trained to do it are just waiting in kind of chat rooms, waiting to be called upon to do the job they're being paid to do. They're being paid £10 an hour to essentially sit and watch Netflix, which, I mean, had I known, I didn't even see the adverts for the job, but I would have, I've been watching the Netflix. I may as well be getting the £10 an hour, is my feeling. I'm so good at watching Netflix. If you were to see me watch Netflix, you would say that guy is so good at what he should be paid. He should be paid for how well he's watching Netflix. He's watching Netflix in a way that really makes me rethink the way I've been watching. Makes me realise that I have been watching Netflix at an amateur level. This guy is a pro. We should give him, and not just minimum wage. We should give him £10 an hour, right? That is what you would think if you saw me watch Netflix. So it's a shame that I didn't take advantage of this opportunity to get paid to watch Netflix, which is apparently what a lot of these people have been doing while they have been waiting to be called upon to kind of do the job they signed up for. The job that they are happy to do, I should say. They're not skiving, they want to do it, except that it just doesn't seem to be happening for them, this job. It doesn't seem to be happening at all, and that's a shame. Because basically the government have kind of backed themselves into a corner where they've promised this track and trace system so that we can reopen schools and shops, and they've promised this world-beating track and trace system, but they've been unable to deliver that by the deadline. But they still want to plough ahead with opening things, so they've gone ahead and gone, right, we're going to do it. And they've made the most reckless possible decision, it seems. But basically, it seems these guys who signed up for this job, they had one training seminar to kind of learn how to use all the systems they were going to have to use, the online systems for the track and trace. They just had the one seminar, and it did not prove to be helpful enough. A lot of them were still very confused at the end of it, and were asking a lot of questions. Unfortunately, the seminar leader sort of logged out without answering those questions. Fortunately, he did leave them some training to do, 7.5 hours worth of training to kind of teach themselves before things opened at 9 a.m. the next morning. So they had 7.5 hours worth of work to do themselves. That's a lot of work when you to learn and train yourself in a thing when you have to start at 9 the next morning. Now, fortunately, it turned out not to be 7.5 hours work. The guy writing the article, he said he got through it in about an hour. So that was good. Unfortunately, though, that did mean he was ill prepared and did not have enough information to actually do the job when it started at 9 a.m. the next morning. Fortunately, when he was due to start at 9 a.m. the next morning, it turned out he was just in a chat room, sort of waiting to be called upon, and nothing was actually happening. So the fact that he was ill prepared and undertrained, didn't matter. He wasn't actually doing a bad job. Fortunately, he was just waiting around, waiting to be called upon, and the job wasn't actually happening. Unfortunately, that is a job that we need to be done for the public safety of everyone. So it's a real shame that it isn't going on. It's a fucking mess from what I can understand, and um, like and people who are fans of video games, just to give one example, know this. Where a company promised, well, we're going to get the game out by this time, and it comes out and it's full of bugs and it's janky and it doesn't work and it doesn't play very well and it's not a lot of fun, and maybe that gets fixed with downloads down the line, but you sort of think, well, why did you release it? Like, just admit that you didn't get it done in time and delay it, and that's fine. I'm still going to want to play it in a couple of months when it really comes out. I mean, you've heard about me getting Bioshock. I'm happy to play something about a decade on. So, where's the rush? Get it right and then get it out. But instead, they decided to get it out, and they fucked up. Hello. There's a little. Can you see this little cat? He doesn't like to be in the spotlight, but he's actually inadvertently got himself in shot, hasn't he? I've tried to get him on camera before, and he always wriggles away because he does not want to be a famous cat, it seems. But you can just see his ears, and it's a shame he won't come in shot because he's so beautiful, aren't you? Yeah, you. What if I? No, you're not keen, are you, on being a star? You're like, oh, look at his tail though. Yeah, this isn't compelling for anyone to watch, I imagine. I was trying to explain to them all about the track and trace system, but I think I don't know, it's hard to know if I reached the end of my point. I'm quite tired. Would you like some energy drink? You can't have any, I'm a responsible pet owner. Oh, he's purring though, he's quite happy. Because he doesn't know about any of this shit we're living through. He's just happily jumping on my lap and giving me a lick. That's nice, isn't it? Not licking my lap, licking my arm. Licking my arm. Oh, is it salty? I don't know. So, he's a good boy. Anyway, in other news, I know, yeah, you I'm talking about. Probably wants some food. That's normally why he comes and gives me affection. But anyway, I will feed him in a second. Before that, I need to talk to you about Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock. He is excited. He's been tweeting about the reopening of the horse racing in this company. They're starting up horse racing again. He's very excited. He's been tweeting about that. I'm sure it's been written about in other places as well. But like many of you, I get most of my news from Matt Hancock's Twitter feed, so that's where I've seen it. And I'm sure he's sincerely excited about it because he is a fan of horse racing himself and actually a horse rider, if that is indeed what they're called. They're called jockeys, aren't they? He rides horses. And they're starting that again on Monday, which I've read some people on my Facebook feed being a bit unsure about, like maybe it's a bit risky, but I mean they're not getting punters in, or gamblers as I think they're known in horse racing circles. There won't be any gamblers watching. It's just going to be like the trainers and the jockeys and things, and they're all on horseback, so I imagine they keep a reasonable distance just to not knock into each other, so I think you can probably do this fairly socially distanced. It should be. I mean, I've been watching wrestling throughout lockdown, so who am I to judge anyone else's form of entertainment? But what I will say though is it's an interesting priority to get horse racing back, particularly for Matt Hancock, not just because he's a fan of the horses, but because his constituency is where you will find Newmarket, the famous illustrious racecourse, and it's almost as though Matt Hancock is worried he's had bad PR the last sort of 8, 9, 10, 12, however many weeks, and he feels like maybe he needs to do something about that. This is day 71 of the vlog, by the way. I don't think I ever mentioned that. Fuck. Or the date. What is the date? Well, it's different now, isn't it? I'm recording this. It's supposed to be the 30th. It's now the 31st, and it'll be the 31st by the time you see it at the earliest. But it's supposed to be. This is today, 30th of May, day 71. Anyway, Matt Hancock, he wants the people in his constituency to vote him back in at the next election. They have a big race course in the area. Right, they've prioritised horse racing. I mean, I might sound cynical, but it feels like that's like a PR move. Like he's trying to. I just hope that the people of Newmarket and the surrounding areas, um, see through this and plough ahead with what I can only imagine is their plan to vote him out of the next election. I don't know. I've not spoken to them, but I mean that would be the sensible thing to do, wouldn't it? Under the circumstances, would be to vote out the incompetent man and not have him as your local MP anymore. That would be, and that goes for anyone who has any Tory MP as their MP. Just get rid, and we can move past it, and build to a brighter future without so many Tory MPs and without any Conservative governments. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Be a nice future. I can't believe I've done half an hour, 31 minutes of this now. That is insane. I mean, I had a first attempt at this. I stopped it at about 23 minutes, and I thought, well, fuck, I've got to start over. This has all gone wrong. I mean, it's definitely going to be a lot more streamlined though, and I might do about 12 minutes and stop, and then people, Ellie will know that I made the effort and tried. But but 30, we've blasted past 31 minutes. I'm just going to watch this clock now and see how far this goes. No, well, obviously I'm not going to do that. That would be insane. But it is about time I wrap things up. I think I covered most of the main areas. So, and I feel like I had a good way of signing off last time that I've now forgotten. But as I've mentioned, I'm tired, and I should be watching the Mindy Project or reading The Mighty Thor or playing Bioshock. I mean, not this late at night. It'll probably give me nightmares. I reckon I'm gonna have Bioshock-related nightmares before I finish that game. I tell you. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, then like and subscribe. If you haven't enjoyed it, like and subscribe anyway. I mean, what skin is it off your nose? Really, honestly, just click the thing. There's no shame in it. Honestly, do it now, please. Thank you. Love you. Bye.